this episode, I talk with writer, director, cinematographer Krista Michaels. She is the co-founder and CEO of Raptor LLC. You may know her from her short films Mantid and One Monday. Krista is working on her new horror film, The Girls, which is coming out next year. I will have a link to her Indiegogo page for that in the show notes. I had a really killer time talking with Krista, and I hope you enjoy this episode. After you're done with this episode, make sure you check out my fellow horsemen of the podcast Apocalypse, Everything Went Black podcast, Into the Necrosphere, the Necromaniacs podcast, Break the Apocalypse, and the Soul Knocks podcast. Also, don't forget to check out our unofficial horseman, Iblis Manifestations. So, once again, hope you enjoy this episode, and don't forget to follow me on social media, Horrorwolf666 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff. And if you dig what I do, please leave me a 5-star rating on whatever podcast platform you use. It's much appreciated. So, thanks so much, and enjoy this one. Yeah, I appreciate you being on the podcast, Krista, and thanks to Alice for making this happen. She's the one that kind of connected us. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, she's really cool.
Yeah, she is. She's been on the podcast multiple times and stuff, and she's just a great supporter of film, and I don't know, just a really cool friend. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to check out your other stuff too.
Yeah, I think once this episode's out, this will be like number, I think 67 with episodes and stuff. I release once every 2 weeks. I like to do it that way. It gives people time to check out the episode. Don't have to worry about like rushing to check it out and stuff like that. So.
Hell yeah. So is it just general like horror movie reviews and interviews and stuff?
Yeah, pretty much. And sometimes I do like top 10 lists, or I like to do top 6 lists, like 666 lists or whatever. But I like to do those kind of things. I talk to a lot of directors, writers, actors, and just friends, if we want to talk horror, like whatever we're watching now, or, go down some different like favorite 80s films and stuff like that, but it's all horror related.
Awesome. Sounds really good.
Yeah. And I started off originally, with the website, which is horrorwolf666.com. I was writing reviews and doing written interviews. And it kind of evolved from there, to the podcast.
That's awesome. Yeah, years ago, I had a website called Slasher Fan.
Nice.
So, big fan of 80s slashers.
Yeah, I think 80s is still one of the best, decades or whatever for horror in general. I think the 80s is still like number one when it comes to like really good horror movies.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So, how did you get into like the horror business? I know you said you just had the website and everything. Is that like your first like foray into horror, or?
I got a job at a horror releasing company, like a Blu-ray releasing company, to do behind the scenes extras. When I lived in Los Angeles, probably like around 2014 or so. And that was the first work I did in the horror genre. I met some really cool people, interviewed some cool directors and actors. So.
Yeah, that's cool. It's always really cool talking like some of your like, horror or film heroes and stuff, like actually picking their brain a little bit. It's always cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love the genre. I mean, I love all film, but horror definitely has a special place in my heart. So.
Yeah, same here. That's my favorite genre. I still like early 90s action movies, like the nostalgia of it and stuff, that's my time. I was a 90s kid, so that's cool to go back and watch those. Yeah.
Yeah, same here, actually.
That's cool. Well, it's a 90s kids episode then. So.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm 36. So.
Yeah, I just turned 37. Sometimes you forget your age after a while because it really doesn't matter anymore,
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, especially the COVID brain fog as well.
Yeah, that definitely could be a contributing factor for that. Yeah, definitely the COVID brain fog, and I think just so much media consumption too between like movies and TV and stuff. I think I'm running out of like a RAM up there, you know.
It could be, yeah. There's a lot of stuff coming out too.
Yeah. So how did the your film that is still in production all right now, The Girls, like how did that come about?
Um, so I had just wrapped up my last film called Mantid. It was a alien shoot that I did, and I had a
Mhm.
really great festival run. Ended up making a lot of great contacts, and had a it just it got a great reaction, and I wanted to do a feature next. And I grew up in Southern Virginia, so like one of the things that scares me that I grew up with are, just random like backwoods. Well, I've always enjoyed those movies too, like those like Texas Chainsaw or Hills Have Eyes type films. And I started thinking about that with my own experience. And yeah, so I had this idea about these like four trans women who travel cross country and they end up at this party. And I decided to make it a Halloween party because I love Halloween. And just thought I'd make a great atmosphere with like glowing pumpkins and like ghosts and all sorts of colorful lights. Um, and then, at this party, like they're just having fun. They're being sort of watched by these like three bigots. And one thing leads to another, and they wake up in a pig barn, like a fly infested pig barn, chained up. And so
Mhm.
that was like the initial idea that I had. And I pitched that to my producer, Blair Hawkins, who was really awesome, by the way. And she really liked it. So she told me to just go, full into it. And so I gathered my girlfriend, Brandy Bryant, and our roommate, Jessica D'Amelio, who both worked on our last project, Mantid. And we wrote an entire feature-length script. So that's sort of like the origin there.
Nice. It definitely gives me like Texas Chainsaw vibes and maybe like some Hills Have Eyes type thing. And especially like I'm from the South too. I live in South Carolina, so I know like Virginia, you know, Georgia, South Carolina. They're full of like fucking inbred rednecks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I totally get that. I've been in some weird situations traveling with the band and stuff before around those areas, and yeah, it can get really creepy.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like I grew up sort of in a city, but a small city, and just you throw a rock and you're out in the boonies. So
Yeah, I totally feel you on that. I live in the, I guess you would call it the suburbs now, kind of the city and stuff, but the country's really close, and where I work at is in the middle of nowhere. So it's like there's all kinds of different horror movie situations you can think of, you know. So I totally get that.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
What,
there was.
go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention like I just had this like originally it was a vision of the sort of like really large guy in overalls and a pitchfork, and he had on a taxidermied like bear head
Hmm.
over his own head, and I drew that image very poorly, and that's since become something else. But yeah, all three of the villains here sort of started there, and we actually have a horror icon attached for one of the lead villains. Unfortunately, we can't talk about it just yet, but
Oh,
I can't wait to announce that.
oh, that sounds cool. Like, yeah, I'm not. I'm hoping in my head maybe it's going to be Kane Hodder. I'm not. You know, I don't want to jinx anything. That'd be cool. Be a good role for him, I think.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? I
Would.
just met Kane Hodder recently. That was really cool. I got him to sign my Victor Crowley figure.
Oh, that's badass. How is he in real life? I've never met him.
Oh, he's super nice. Yeah, he's really chill, and he likes to joke a lot, so that's cool.
He had a podcast with Felissa Rose. Can't remember the name of it right now, but it was a really awesome podcast. And yeah, just hearing him like joke around and be, super funny and stuff. I'm like, wow, that's Kane Hodder. He's one of the fucking best, like, guys ever portrayed Jason. He is the best to portray Jason, in my
Oh,
opinion.
definitely. Yeah, he's my favorite.
Yeah, he just has such a meanness to it. Like, I don't know, like the other Jasons were cool and everything, but when he came on the scene, this is like a totally different story. So much more evil and stuff.
Yeah, and he does this funny thing when he takes pictures of fans. In real life, he's like he puts his hand around their neck like he's choking them, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I heard he used to put some pressure on that back in the day in his younger days. Like, heard some people say they got pictures with him. Like, yeah, he's kind of actually choking me.
Nice. Sounds awesome.
Yeah. With the artwork for the girls, artwork is really killer, and also for your short films too. I love the artwork. It has like that '80s retro style look to it that I think looks really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, both of those posters, like for Mantid and the girls, were done by Brandy Bryant, and that's what we were going for. Is definitely 80s retro aesthetic. I miss a lot of the hand drawn artwork and the little slightly cheesy taglines at the top. I love that stuff.
Yeah, we definitely are missing that now with like, new movies and stuff. And to me, that's like a big thing. Like those covers from like the 90s, especially the 80s and stuff, those really drew me in to like want to check out this film. Like the awesome artwork and the cool taglines. Now, some of the stuff we get that's thrown on like Netflix or even Shutter sometimes, like it's super generic. Like the pictures they use for the film, like that doesn't interest me at all. Like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I grew up also just seeing all that awesome like Drew Struzan poster art. So if you're gonna use faces, I love the idea of just drawing it or painting it. It just looks so great.
Yeah, totally. And I saw something where you said you got the new Psycho Gorman VHS, and the artwork for Psycho Gorman is
Yes.
fucking awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's Psycho Goreman is one of my favorite recent independent horror films. And we missed the first time. We tried to get the VHS, but I think like within like the first 5 to 10 minutes, all the bots had just bought them up. So it's kind of a big problem, especially with like vinyl records as well.
Yeah, it is. The cool thing with like Psycho Gorman being released on VHS from Witter Entertainment and Broke Horror Fan, like they're so fucking awesome. But you got to be super fast if you want to get like the big box edition and stuff, like the super fancy version, because they sell in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and you can see people flipping them right away on eBay for 150 to 200.
Ah, I
So
hate that. That sucks. I got a bunch of stuff from Witter Entertainment. I have like I got two different versions of Mandy. I got the Cheddar Goblin version of Mandy on VHS, and I also have like the big giant clam box version of Mandy on VHS. And I had to really fight to get both of those. Like as soon as
nice.
12 o'clock hit, and like everything was released, I was like on the website.
I
you
think I
know,
saw one of those that had sort of like a cereal box cover.
yeah, that's the was that was you talking about for Mandy?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the one that looks like the cereal box cover is the Cheddar Goblin one. It's like the macaroni and cheese like box and all, and it's so fucking awesome. I'm like, man, I gotta have this, and luckily I got it. But like I said, they sell out so fast.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I collect VHS anyways. We go thrifting a lot, and we find some pretty cool stuff every once in a while. But like a lot of the horror, I guess, is kept close at home for collectors. So
Yeah, it seems like people are kind of catching on. Like VHS collecting's cool. You know what I mean? So it's like trying to get a good horror movie on VHS is getting harder and harder.
definitely, that's something I want to do for the girls. Also, is a limited VHS run. So
That'd be
I just
badass.
I
You
just
should
mentioned that to the producer.
that'd be really badass. You should contact Witter Entertainment on that and stuff. But they could probably hook that up pretty easy, unless you already have somebody you're going through, which is great too. Just having it on VHS is gonna be badass.
Yeah, actually, I think they follow me. I should probably contact them.
They're super cool, and they just recently did the VHS Fest. I can't remember where it was at. Maybe I'm gonna say Philadelphia. Maybe I'm probably wrong on that, but there's like a whole giant VHS festival. It looks fucking killer. I never attended it, but it looks cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad nowadays. Like, kids don't get to like witness what we witnessed with the whole VHS like boom and everything now. And even like DVDs now are kind of going out of style. Everything is streaming, you know.
I know every time I go to like even I mean Walmart, Target, and Best Buy, even the physical media sections are getting smaller and smaller. It's really sad to see.
It is. It's scary. Even with books and stuff, I mean, it's not what it used to be, especially when it comes to like different magazines. There's been a couple like independent like horror magazines that you don't really see anymore. And even like if I go to like Barnes and Noble, which is the only bookstore we have around here, you don't even see Rue Morgue there, which is I think is bullshit. They
Oh,
used to
really?
carry Rue Morgue, but you can't find it anymore. So I usually order it online, and
Oh, that
by the
sucks.
time it gets to me, like the post office people like fold it up and shit. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, that sucks. Um, I think the last time I did go there to Barnes and Noble, they had Room Work and Fangoria. I picked up both, but
Nice.
it's been a while. So
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely want to cherish the physical media that you have and keep buying as much as you can, because things can disappear so fast off these streaming services and you never see them again.
yeah, one of my biggest goals had in the last couple of years, I was going to collect at least all of my childhood favorites. So like the Ninja Turtles, the Sandlot, all that stuff. We gotta have. So taking care of that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I love The Sandlot. That's such an underrated movie. And it's not
Oh,
underrated to us 90s kids, but like kids nowadays don't know what the hell The Sandlot is.
yeah, it's sad. Like certain generations may not grow up with like some of these great films we saw.
Yeah, and we had some good ones too. Like yesterday, usually on Fridays, I do like my Friday night movie pick. I post all my social media pages and stuff, but I posted about Predator 2 yesterday. I know there's some people have never
Nice.
seen Predator 2, and I was like, well, that's crazy. But then, I think about the age range and everything like that. I'm like, so this is really cool. You get to witness Predator 2 for the first time. That's pretty fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, that's badass. Yeah,
Yeah.
I never I see some people making fun of others when they haven't seen something even like Star Wars, but I think it's awesome you get to see it for the first time. So
Yeah. It's way awesome. Yeah. I hate when I see stuff on social media with like, oh, you haven't seen this. You're not a real horror fan or shit like that. I'm like, that's so
uh,
stupid. Fucking
yeah, it's
hate stuff like
ridiculous.
that. I'm like, yeah, it's really dumb. But for the majority of things, the horror community on social media is not too bad. It's met a lot of cool people. So
Yeah, me too. Especially like when I was in high school, I was really big into slasher movies. I was just researching, a lot more obscure ones because of course I grew up with like Freddy, Jason, Michael and stuff. But when I was in high school, I was seeing stuff like The Burning and The Prowler for the first time. And I didn't really have anyone to talk to about that stuff. So I'm glad with social media, at least you can connect with other people now. So,
yeah, it's definitely a big thing because I still don't have too many people in like real life. And it's not on social media to talk about horror with me because I bore people with that stuff. Like nobody gives a shit about what I'm talking about these obscure movies and everything. So, my social media friends and all that stuff, I can actually like get that out and talk about it and even through the podcast. So it's really cool.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's amazing how you can connect with people over certain things. I mean, actually, I met my girlfriend over Twitter, based around Ernest Scared Stupid.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, it's kind of a random connection there, but another childhood favorite.
Yeah, that's a good telltale of a decent person if they dig Ernest Scared Stupid. You know what I mean? Because that's like one of the best Halloween movies ever made, in my opinion.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's never mentioned like in the list, with like Hocus Pocus and some of the others, but it should be.
It was on my Halloween episode last year. We did a top 10 list, I guess, of favorite films to watch during Halloween, and that was on my list for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, it holds up so well nowadays too because of the really cool practical effects for the trolls and everything. They still look great.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I love Ernest anyways. So
Yeah,
awesome.
I was a big fan of Ernest growing up. Even Ernest Says Christmas is Fun as Hell. That was like one of our favorite like movies to watch during that time. Then when, Halloween came around, it was Ernest Scared Stupid, and I think he went to jail in one of them.
Yep, it's so good.
I think
But
originally he was a Shakespearean trained actor. I think, which is crazy.
yeah, that is. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really talented. Like we're big fans of all the clowns, anyways. Like Steve Urkel, Mr. Bean, like all those guys. So
Oh, that's all good stuff. TGIF Fridays, remember those?
hell yeah,
Yeah, we don't really have nothing. The cool thing we have now, being an adult, is they brought Joe Bob's back on and Shutter and stuff, and that kind of brings back memories of like Monster Vision and everything. So
yeah, it's so
that's
awesome.
cool. It's one of my favorite
Yeah,
things to do on Fridays.
yeah, I rarely get to watch it when it's happening, but I've done it a few times, and it's cool to talk with other people on Twitter while watching. But yeah, it's such a cool thing.
Yeah, and like I said, it's really fun on Twitter on Friday nights. Like I've had Felissa Rose like tweet back at me, like Barbara Crampton. I'm like, oh, this is so
Nice.
cool. Yeah.
All
Especially
the
during like the COVID times, like when we're off of work and everything. Like at least we had the drive-in, to keep us company.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm pretty behind on that stuff right now, but there's some great episodes.
Yeah, they just ended the new season last Friday, and I think the last episode they did was on I think it was Day of the Dead was the last movie they covered. So
Nice.
that yeah, that's a good way to end it.
I love that movie.
It's so good and it holds up super well. I mean, the gore, I mean, is legendary.
Definitely, and I like the sort of different approach that Romero took. With the showing the zombies can learn and stuff. So
Yeah, and it's kind of claustrophobic too, being it's all taking place in a giant like base and stuff like that as well. So
yeah, plus being inside there, it just makes you wonder like what's going on outside. Like how big does this go?
hmm yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites of his. I mean, he created the whole zombie genre for the most part. There were zombie movies before that, like but totally different take, more like on the Haitian zombie and everything, and he just kind of did his own thing with these type zombies, and now we have like The Walking Dead and like 50 other spin-offs of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, he definitely solidified what we know as the zombie prototype in the genre. I would say. I mean, Night of the Living Dead is pretty legendary.
Oh yeah,
Just that stark black and white. It's so awesome.
yeah. Joe Bob did an episode of that. I think it was last season, or I think it might have been last season. But hearing his commentary on it and stuff was really fucking cool.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, hopefully it's still up on Shutter. They switch up their movies so much, and they're having to switch a movie and it goes somewhere else, and it's not on Shutter anymore. Then they just have like Joe Bob's speaking parts, him and Darcy, and then the movie itself won't be on there. So that kind of sucks.
Ah, yeah, I'd recommend anyone follow Darcy as well. She has some
Yeah,
good posts.
yeah, Darcy's fucking cool. So, no, Darcy pretty much resurrected the whole like last drive-in stuff, like bringing Joe Bob back out into the public again like that. So, and the stuff she does for horror and she writes for Fangoria and stuff, like she's a badass.
Oh yeah, and honestly, I think she's empowering too for women. So
Oh yeah, 100%. I love her tweets and stuff too. Like she stays on social media, like just constantly promoting. I'm like, it takes a lot, it takes some perseverance.
yeah, I can't get the hang of things. It was especially like all the Twitter/X drama lately.
Oh yeah,
They're still like dealing with like I've gotten like maybe 4 or 5 new social media networks lately, and Blue Sky and Threads. It's just like a lot to keep up with.
Yeah, I just converted over to Threads. I have one of those now, and just recently I started doing like clips from the podcast on TikTok, and I was really didn't want to get on TikTok, but I've had people say, "Oh, you should get on TikTok, man. It's still like your podcast on there," and I finally did it, and I'm getting really good reactions on there, so I guess it was a good thing, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
TikTok's
same
pretty
thing happened.
crazy.
Yeah, people were telling me to get on TikTok, and I avoided it for so long, but actually I was adamantly against it. But then I mentioned that I was going to start doing some videos of like video game mods and repairs, and I made a TikTok for that, and I put up, I think the first one, um, I did one where I put an LED inside of a Game Boy, but I'm not sure what the first one. I can't remember, but it actually did pretty well.
That's cool. I'm about to follow you on there. I'm a big gamer as well. Not as big as I used to be because I just don't have time to play video games like I used to. Now, if I do play video games, it's mostly like virtual reality because I just think that's cool as
Oh,
hell. But
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, I got the Meta VR headset.
oh yeah, I have the same. I got the Quest 2, and then I also have the PlayStation VR 2, which is a
Oh,
whole game
nice.
changer for
Oh, yeah.
VR. Yeah, it's
I
so
yeah,
badass.
I have the first version of the PSVR. So,
Yep, I just sold my first version to get the second one. I sold it to a friend at work and stuff, so he's never tried that stuff before, so that blew his mind. I'm like, well, waiting for the
well,
PSVR 2 to come out, and as soon as I plugged that in, that blew my mind again. I'm like, cool.
oh yeah. I try to tell people, whenever I'm feeling down, I would just pop on the PSVR in the Batman game, and then
Hmm.
I just sit inside of the Batcave, and there's like a waterfall, and it's just pretty peaceful. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, I totally agree with that. The Batman game. That was one of the first games I played for the first PSVR one. And I was like, holy shit! It totally like blew my mind because I've never experienced VR before that. And like when you're standing there, like looking out over the city and stuff, there's like a balcony stage or something where like a helicopter comes down or some shit. It's just
Yeah,
like, man, what the fuck, you know?
yeah, you can lose your stomach there.
Yeah,
It's wild. To anyone who's never tried VR, it's really really cool. Also, the Rick and Morty VR game is one I picked up, and that was pretty crazy.
yeah, that's a good one, especially if you like that type of humor. Like it is Rick and Morty, you know what I mean? Even though it's called, I can't remember, was it Trover Saves the Universe? I think's the name of it.
Yeah, yeah, I haven't played it in a while, but that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I just, well, kind of recently, past couple months, I had just got done beating Resident Evil Village in VR, and yeah, that was a hell of an experience.
Nice. I haven't played that one yet.
It's so
But
good. It's only on the PSVR 2 as of right now. They didn't
okay.
do like a PSVR 1 edition or nothing.
Yeah, I remember my roommate hadn't tried VR yet, and the first game that I told her to try was Resident Evil 7,
Nice.
and she was like afraid to go just at the very beginning, just go into the house for the first time. Just going through the door frame was terrifying.
Yeah, it was even for me. It was, and horror is my thing. Like games are nothing, but when you do that in VR, especially with Resident Evil 7, and that house was so like Texas Chainsaw, the way it looked, like the griminess of everything,
Oh yeah,
and the detail was so good in that game. You could see like the paint marks on the paintings, like the brush strokes and everything. Like they went crazy on the detail. Yeah, that was a hard one for me to get through. It took me like 3 months because it would get so damn intense. I get chills down my spine. I'm like, got to take a break.
yeah, it really fucks with your mind, especially like horror games. It's so crazy. Like I've been wondering for a while. I guess at some point we're probably gonna have VR movies. Maybe something interactive. I don't know.
That's what I'm hoping for. I was talking about this on a last podcast I was doing. Like if the movie industry was to get involved with VR and say like you're watching Friday the 13th or something, and then you can see from the perspective of a camper, or you can see from Jason Voorhees' perspective. Like how crazy would that be?
Yeah, because like other human figures are life size, and it feels like they're right there. And as technology gets better, graphics, everything, it's gonna be pretty scary, I think.
It is. It really is. Apple's got a new headset coming out next year. It's like a $3,500 headset, so there's no way in hell I'm buying this. But
Oh,
the
that
technology
the
that's
Pro thing.
involved
Yeah.
with this thing is what's that?
I think I saw an ad for that, like the Pro version or whatever it's.
It's like the Apple Vision Pro, I think's the name of it. And it's got some serious tech, and it's just like going to be a prototype from things to come after that. This is going to set the bar for like really weird shit because with this headset, you can record what's going on around you and play it back as a memory. I mean, that right there is like
Oh
some
wow,
Black Mirror type shit.
hell yeah! I've only seen a couple episodes of that show, but I really enjoyed it. I just remember my mind being blown over the video game episode actually.
Yep, same here. That one stuck with me the most, and it was actually really sad too because he got fucked up. Especially, he never really got better after what happened to him in there. And that felt like playing Resident Evil to me. I'm like, oh shit, this hits close to home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy where
I
technology is going.
It is. It's like everything that we've seen in books and movies from the past is starting to come to be. Like we're really gonna have this type of shit. And when it comes to virtual reality, like things are getting smaller with the glasses. Like you know, everything's smaller fit, but way more powerful, way more realistic.
Yeah, I love where things are going. I mean, I love the past. I'm definitely nostalgic for a lot of things that we grew up with, as well as things that were before our time. But I try to embrace the future. So,
Yeah, same here. And I'm all about entertainment, so like I gotta, I like, I'm a tech buff. I love all the like different tech shit. No, I think it's really cool. So I like seeing the advancements in it and what can come out of it and stuff. You know, as long as we're not like around when the Terminators come about and stuff. That would suck.
yeah, which might be soon, right?
Yeah, I think sooner than we think. And yeah, the future is going to be really weird. And I don't know if you saw recently the thing about the aliens and stuff, where they're like admitting that yes, we have a UFO and we have something inside of it that's not non-human. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
finally, look at this. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I did my last short film, Mantid, because I'm really into ufology, so I study that stuff anyways. So
hmm
it's wild that it's all coming out now.
I know after all these fucking years, like finally, and it seems like people don't really give a shit. Like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm like, this is really big. They just told us that aliens are real.
Yeah, which is why I'm surprised they didn't tell us sooner because that's the way every news cycle goes. It's like people talk about it for a couple of days and then they're on to the next thing. So,
Right. I'm excited about it. It's cool, but I don't think they're going to look anything like what we think they're going to look like. I don't think they're going to be like big green men or anything like that. Maybe they look similar to us. How freaky would that be? Like they're pretty much us, because that's kind of like a theory I had that we're just an alien species of this planet. This we go around repopulating different planets and seeing what takes. Maybe they just look just like us.
yeah, well, there is one theory that they are us from the future. So,
I've heard that one. Yeah.
yeah, who knows? I mean, they could be interdimensional beings or extraterrestrials or any number of things.
It could be squid-like, maybe the things that are down in the ocean that we haven't really discovered yet are coming back up, and they were actually the travelers from distant planets. They kind of just like, all right, we're going to crash land in your oceans and stuff, and we'll reveal ourselves
Right.
later on. you know?
I actually have some dialogue in the Girls movie about that, about how there's UFOs coming or UAPs now, I guess, coming out of the water in the military sees it a lot. So
Oh, that's true. That's cool. It's in the movie. They talk about it a little bit. That's definitely cool.
definitely.
That reminds me of what'd you think of War of the Worlds that came out, the one with Tom Cruise? I thought it was a decent movie and
Oh,
kind
I
of
like the
scary. What's that?
yeah. I'll watch anything with from Spielberg. So
Yeah, they did a great job with their interpretation of like UFOs and stuff. They've been here forever and they're being activated and coming out the ground and stuff. I just thought it was kind of terrifying. It's like, man, what if that really happened?
Yeah, that whole scene where the first one comes up out of the road and everybody's freaking out. That's so crazy, and like the sound is just loud. It's awesome to watch it on a surround sound system.
Yeah, that's a perfect movie to watch with a good surround sound system. Like the sound design in that one's really good. I think that's what really brings out the like massiveness of the ground UFO things. I can't remember what they called them or whatever, but like the ground troops that they had there, like fucking terrifying.
Hell yeah!
What are
Such
what
cool.
are some of your favorite like films of all time? If you had to pick like six of them, say favorite horror films.
Favorite horror films?
Yeah.
Um, well, right off the bat, I'm just going to say I love everything by John Carpenter. Um, I really like Prince of Darkness, and I like They Live. But going to other films, I'm a big fan of The Burning, which I mentioned earlier. I love Madman Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see. I really love Rosemary's Baby is one of my favorites, and The Shining. Anything by Stanley Kubrick. I love The Exorcist. Some of my favorites. I mean, I like a bunch. Mostly like stuff. My favorite era is sort of like 70s and then early 80s.
Yeah.
So,
That's a good era to like there. The Exorcist is also on my list of all time favorite films. I like equally, I think Exorcist one and three are tied because I think they're both fucking killer.
hell yeah. I agree with that. I'm not really a fan of part two, though.
No, I don't think nobody really is. Like part two is pretty bad. Even like going back to try to watch it now just for like purposes of being so bad it's good, it's still not good.
Yeah, it's a really cool poster, but
Hmm.
other than that, I mean, the cast seems good, but I just didn't jive with the story, I guess.
Only other Exorcist film that I kind of liked, no, kind of, no, it's not great or anything, but I think it was what Dominion that came out in
Dominion.
the 90s or late 2000s. I mean,
Yeah, it's
early
been.
2000s. Yeah,
I remember liking those. The beginning was the other one,
yeah,
but
those
yeah,
aren't bad.
actually, another film that I'm a really big fan of is Carrie. That's actually my middle name because of well, the Brian De Palma film as well as the Stephen King novel. So
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't think De Palma gets enough love. He's got some really cool shit. He's kind of like the American Giallo type guy.
yeah, yeah, he's in my probably my top three. So
It's cool. And anything Stephen King is always a win with me. So, like Stephen King is the man. He's my favorite author. Well, he's kind of like sometimes he's my favorite author and sometimes it's Clyde Barker. But I think overall, I think King wins out. But Clyde Barker's like right there with him.
they're both fantastic. It's Stephen King is very prolific though. He has such
Yeah.
like a vast like and not just horror. He writes all kinds of things, but his story is definitely I think my favorite Stephen King novel is probably Pet Cemetery,
Hmm.
just really creepy. So
Yeah, that's a good one. I think my favorite King novel is going to be It, the Pennywise. Yeah,
oh yeah.
he sticks with you. Like I read that when I was a teenager, a little bit younger than a teenager, and yeah, that one stuck with me forever. Then watching the miniseries, I was like, fuck.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the original 90s series is still my favorite.
Oh yeah, it beats the shit out of the new one. And I'm not saying the new one's terrible, especially like for the newer generation of horror fans. Like it gets them into Stephen King, but it doesn't compare to that miniseries from back in the '90s.
I don't think so either. And I went to the theaters for the first one. I really enjoyed it. And then for some reason I didn't go see part two. But when I finally got around to seeing it, I guess I didn't care for it as much. But I love the first one. So
Yeah, I saw the first one in theaters too, and the second one I didn't see in theaters. And when I did see it, I was just kind of like, didn't really do too much for me.
Yeah, I feel like it didn't really hold up as much, but which is weird because like if you think about the original '90s miniseries, I think like the second half is might be one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. So
Yeah, when they're all like grown ups and stuff. Yeah, I definitely think that's like the stronger part in the original miniseries. I remember getting to stay up late for that because I think I was in middle school or maybe late elementary school when that came out, and it would come on like ABC, and then I think it would end at like 10 o'clock or something or 11. So I was like, can I stay up to watch it and have fucking nightmares for weeks? But it was worth it.
for sure, yeah, I never really had like a big fear of clowns, but I would definitely say it's a little creepy. And we have a new contender in the world of clowns lately too, which in Terrifier 2,
Oh,
Terrifier.
hell yeah, yeah, Art the Clown. He's definitely up there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy both of those films, and I got to talk to Art on the podcast, and yeah,
Oh, sweet.
David is such a nice dude. Like you would never know. Like he played that role and stuff. Like he's so nice, so drastically different than Art the Clown. It's like, how are you playing this guy? Like you're like the nicest dude ever.
Yeah, I actually got to meet him and the director Damien recently at it was a horror convention here in Denver. Yeah, super nice guys.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm really happy for all the success they've had too. Like with Terrifier 2, they killed it. Being all those different movie theaters and making all that money off of a independent film. I think that's just fucking great.
Well, yeah, and I feel like they opened the doors for other indie productions that to sort of take a more unrated approach.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, Terrifier and Terrifier 2 are about as brutal as it gets when it comes to like brutality and there's special effects and blood and gore. Like you don't get much brutal than that. That's pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah, and I'm stoked to see part 3, so I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I think they're gonna expand the world even more and stuff. Is what I'm hearing. So yeah, definitely looking forward to when that comes out.
Oh yeah, I'm curious about any new elements that might come because like the pale girl in part 2, and just it gets a lot weirder. So I'm curious to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, part two has like a big fantasy element in it too, especially with like the sword, the flaming sword and everything like that. And like I've had like speculations that Art is some type of maybe well, I think he is a demon. He's definitely not human, but I'm wondering where they're gonna go with if they're gonna go more in that direction with like the fantasy elements.
I think it would be definitely a good approach, especially considering like some of his biggest rivals, like Jason and Michael, are like questionably paranormal or devilish in some sort of way. I mean, it depends on who
Hmm.
you ask.
Yeah, there's a big debate on, especially with Michael Myers. Is he a possessed person or is he just a really psychotic human? Or oh, there's another good theory too that he's part of the Shamrock Corporation. He's an android, or that's a cool one. That one's fun though. It's a fun one to think about. Like, oh, cool, he's like an android, but it makes the least sense, but it's still fun.
Yeah, since we see him as like a kid in the at the very beginning of the first film.
Yeah, that definitely throws that out the window. But yeah, I love the old Halloween films. I didn't really care too much for the new ones. I did enjoy the first of the new ones, the very first Halloween movie, and then I enjoyed the very last one. And a lot of people hated the last one, but I thought, oh, that's a cool twist, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah, I actually like the last one too. So like I like that they took a chance, and I I like that they went a different direction. I don't know, because I mean we've seen there's so many films in the franchise. You don't want to like retread the same ground.
Right.
But I think overall, like I just just being a lot older now, I just try to enjoy things as they come. I think in high school I probably would have criticized this new trilogy to hell, but
Hmm.
because it's not exactly what I would have done. But I mean, I'm just glad for new content at this point.
Yeah, same here, and it's cool still seeing like Halloween, being out there, like the newer people seeing it and stuff like that too. Like Halloween's still out there, and Michael Myers is still killing people, and it's gonna always continue. And I think that's cool.
Definitely. I'm just a big fan of part four, and I like the Jamie Lloyd storyline. So
Hmm.
I think Danielle Harris is really cool. I'd like to see that continue. But
Oh, that would be cool. I remember in high school seeing the Halloween. I think it was Resurrection. There's one with Busta Rhymes in there, and they're doing like the
yeah,
reality show. Yeah,
it's
I
so
was like,
much
oh
fun.
shit. Yeah, it's so fucking crazy. Like, I still think it's fun. And like the Michael Myers in that one. He's like fucking real intimidating looking and stuff, and but not my favorite, but it's like one of the most fun Halloween movies.
Right? Yeah. No, not a great movie by any
No.
stretch, but it's a blast.
Seeing Michael Myers get like jump kicked by Busta Rhymes out of a window, I'm like,
Yeah, that's what we go to the movies for.
yeah, it was so fun seeing that in the theater too with everybody. Like people were just like cheering and shit, and when he comes back, and it was fun. It was a great time in the movie theaters with that one.
Yeah, it was just a different time. I remember going to see Bride of Chucky in theaters and just seeing like Chucky light up a joint for the first time. Like everybody was just like erupting with laughter. It was a fun time.
Yeah, I didn't see Bride of Chucky in the movie theaters, but I'm pretty sure I seen a Child's Play in movie. I think I seen it in movie theater. Either that or I was watching on VHS. But I was traumatized by Child's Play growing up because I owned a My Buddy doll as a kid.
How did you?
Yeah, and that thing looked just like fucking Chucky. I'm like, what kind? Was it a coincidence that this movie came out, with the My Buddy dolls? I mean, there's no fucking way. Like, and I would take that fucking doll and throw it in the closet and just stack clothes and everything else on top of that motherfucker. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I was traumatized without the doll, so I can imagine. Yeah,
Yeah, I had to. Ugh.
it was part two for me that really scared me.
Oh, part two is yeah. The first two films, like Chucky's mean as shit. He doesn't really have his like, he got kind of more comedic as the movies went on. But like the first two, he's really fucking mean.
Yeah. Have you checked out the TV series yet?
I did season one. Isn't there two seasons or three?
I think there's two out right now.
Okay, well I did season one. Have not checked out season two yet. I was waiting for it to I think come on Peacock because I can't remember where it was
Okay.
streaming at originally. So I'm waiting to see season two. I still haven't watched that one yet. I'm still catching up on certain things, but really enjoyed the first season. Like he's pretty
I would
brutal in this.
I would definitely recommend season two just because it gets way out there. I just think it's like it just gets better. So and it goes places you would never think.
Oh, that's cool. I think it's great they're continuing on with Chucky and stuff, and original voice actor Brad Dourif is a plus. I'm glad I didn't kind of switch that up. I'm a big fan of Brad Dourif, and his daughter's actually in the first season. I don't know if she's in the second season. I don't know if she's survived. I think she is, but I don't know since I haven't seen the second season yet. But
Yeah, I don't want to give that away if you haven't seen it, but
no,
definitely
definitely
check
need
it
to.
out.
Yeah, I definitely will on that because a lot of things are ending right now. Uh, like the shows I'm watching, when it comes to like horror and everything like that. Have you checked out what is it called here? I think it's called From. Have you checked out From, the TV series? It's on I think Stars or something.
No.
Okay, From is from the directors of Lost and some other people involved in it did some horror stuff, but it's really good. It feels like a Stephen King novel. Like these group of people all kind of crashed. Well, they didn't crash, but they all ended up in the same like town and stuff, and they can't get out of this town no matter what they do. They cannot get out of this town. And so when nightfall comes, these like vampire type creatures come out and start killing each and every one of them, and they can't do nothing against it because they can't die. Like
Oh,
we don't know if they're vampires or not. They haven't explained that yet in the storyline because it's like if you like Lost, it kind of flows with that. Everything's kind of weird and like you can't just figure it out right then and there. But it's really good and reminds me a little bit of like Salem's Lot. Like I said, I don't know if these are
see,
vampires or not. There's some type of like crazy ass looking creatures.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, From is really awesome.
I'll have to look into that for sure.
Another good show too that's out that a lot of people don't really talk about is Evil. Have you seen Evil?
No, honestly, I don't
E-
watch a lot of TV. Mostly movies.
Yeah, I usually do a little bit of both there, but yeah, if you want some like cool shit to binge, Evil has 3 seasons. And that one is really fucking awesome. It deals like these it's like a preacher type character or a priest, and then you have like a skeptic, and then you have another person that's kind of like the in between, and they're trying to figure out all these like weird things going on in their town, and it's all linked to the devil, and they're trying to prove it wrong, but it's not wrong, you know. There's an actual devil involved in this, demons.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's really good, and it plays out kind of like a dark comedy on some episodes, and then other episodes is super serious.
Right on.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's on hiatus right now, I believe. Hopefully, it comes back for another season.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, like the amount of things that are either on hold or I don't know, due to the whole like writer strike and the SAG strike as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just
it's
like
wild.
curious like how that's going to end up going.
I've had a few of my guests I had scheduled. They had to, hold off for a while until the strike is over because they're not allowed to do any kind of like promoting or any kind of podcast, and it's in their rules and stuff. So I totally understand that. And I stand with those guys and gals
Right.
about this. I think it's we got to fight this crap that's going on, especially with the AI taking over like writers' jobs, and that'd be horrible. There'd be a bunch of shit out, mostly reality shows if that happens.
Yeah, I've seen some weird things on Twitter recently. Just I guess people making sort of beginner clips and trying to show other people how to make AI movie clips. And it's pretty rough right now, but it's like good enough to where you can tell that it's going to be concerning very soon.
hmm Yeah, it's wild as how fast AI is growing and learning, and yeah, it can. We can use it for the good of stuff too, and for help and everything. But when you replace like people with AI, that's not a good decision.
Yeah, it's really weird. I guess I see it the same way as anybody else. Like I don't really see myself in competition with like say Martin Scorsese. So why would I see AI as a competitor?
Right.
Because I mean I'm gonna make my films. No one else can make it like I will. So
Yeah, it has your touch to it and stuff. Like if it's AI or whatever, it's gonna be, AI feeling. It's gonna feel fake as fuck, and a robot wrote this or whatever.
yeah, definitely. And I saw this like tweet the other day talking about how AI, it might start looking pretty good, but it's still like there's sort of a Wes Anderson element like stuck in the algorithm because they're all sort of doing this, the Wes Anderson aesthetic with colors and the framing and everything.
hmm It's wild. Have you messed around with the AI art stuff? Like, just playing around with like photos and everything, how crazy that shit gets.
No, I still haven't done that yet.
I did it just to fuck around, even though I know it's bad because they're like using this information for whatever things to improve the AI. But it's like through Microsoft or something. I was just like, oh, all you do is put in a prompt. Like I put in there like metal cats, and then there's like a fucking band on stage with cat heads.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, and that's all for fun. I'm not using that for anything of profit, because there's like bands and all that do that with artwork and stuff. I think it's a little weird to me. Like I think you should be using a real artist for that.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to choice, really. I mean, I'm still going to hire only real artists myself. So, but
Yeah,
the same with like any technology, really. Like, I'm still on the girls. I'm still going all practical effects. I don't want any CGI. So,
well, that's perfect. I mean, CGI has its place, but sparingly. I think I'm more of a practical effects person, especially when it comes to blood and gore and all that kind of stuff. Like it's good to be practical.
definitely, yeah, some of the CG blood I've seen is really bad. So, but
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. I mean, I don't mind. I'm a fan of some CG. I just yeah, I just really like the way practical effects look for monsters and stuff like that. So
Hmm. Yeah, it holds up over time too. Like if you take let's say the werewolf from any of the werewolves from The Howling, and then you compare it to, let's say, the werewolf from Van Helsing, there's a giant difference there because that whole werewolf from Van
yeah,
Helsing is CGI and it looks like shit.
yeah. It's funny. We just watched Van Helsing last night, so it's funny you bring that up.
It's a fun film though. That's the thing. I just wish that damn werewolf wasn't fucking CGI because that totally ruined it for me. Even when I first saw that film, like, God damn it, you couldn't just hire like a dude to play a werewolf or whatever. Like, why's it gotta be CGI?
Yeah, they obviously had a crazy budget too.
Yeah. Even
Uh,
Dracula was CGI. Dracula, I think it was Dracula he was fighting in there. Yeah, he was CGI as well. He didn't look as bad as the werewolf, but still, I'm like, fuck.
yeah, when they like sort of vamp out these giant
Hmm.
flying, they kind of look like the girls look like harpies.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you know, some of the CG definitely doesn't hold up, but yeah, I mean, it's a fun story.
it is. Yeah, it's still a fun film. I enjoyed it for what it was when it first came out. I haven't revisited that one in many, many years, but I did see it was streaming somewhere recently. I'm like, yeah, let's see. If I'm really bored, I want to take a trip back into what the early 2000s when that came out. I might
Yeah,
check it out.
I would say the coolest thing about it after seeing it last night was probably the score, because like Van Helsing's theme song, it just sounds like something out of Final Fantasy or something. So it's pretty
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I do remember the score being pretty good. I think if you want to like, I think to me the best looking Dracula ever was in Bram Stoker's Dracula, the one that came out in the '90s.
Oh yeah, the
No.
Coppola movie. Yeah,
Yeah, the Coppola one. Yeah, god damn, that's a damn looking like when he went full vampire, and almost like bat like when they did like the thing with the flame and stuff. And he's like right there. I'm like, that's so fucking cool.
I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, still holds up too. That to me, that's the best, one of the best vampire films ever made. It's like kind of a tie with that, Lost Boys, and the original Fright Night.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, I just did a podcast not so long ago on the Lost Boys.
Oh,
So
that's cool. Love the
I love
Lost
that.
Boys.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Did you ever watch any of the sequels?
I watched the second one, I think,
Hmm.
and it was better than I thought it was going to be, honestly. So
Yeah, yeah, I
because
agree on that.
I heard nothing but bad reviews for them, so I was kind of scared.
Yeah, definitely a different take, and it just I don't know. It's hard to beat the original Lost Boys. Like I think the newer ones had like that kind of the digital feel to it. It felt very I don't know. I don't know. This wasn't very good.
Yeah, very obviously direct to DVD type films, but
Hmm.
it's just cool to like see, you know, maybe a couple of the returning cast members and just a new story. I mean, it's too bad that like it didn't get a sequel or at least a prequel back in the day. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool. You would think somebody might be working on that now, and that we've been doing a lot of stuff with like redos and movies and stuff like that. Like maybe somebody's working on a Lost Boys prequel. That'd be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I think Joel Schumacher pitched that back in the day, and the studio said no for some reason. Even though
And there's so much to work with that too. Like you got so much storyline right there.
I know it would have been great, and they kept wanting to do a sequel, but he was just like, "All the vampires are dead. Like, how are you going to do a sequel? Doesn't make
Yeah,
sense."
no, not at all. Like prequel makes plenty of sense, but sequel, no. I think another like in that same list of like cool vampire films, I would probably include Dust Till Dawn.
Hell yeah,
Right, it's a damn good movie.
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, still holds up because of practical effects.
Yeah, and I love the Tom Savini role in that too.
Oh yeah, like Sex Machine. He's got
Yeah,
like the little whip and the gun and stuff. Like man,
so cool.
it just goes like it starts off as like a fucking like murder spree type movie, like bank robbery type movie and stuff, and then goes straight down into hell, like in the best way possible when they get to the bar and everything. I love
Yeah,
that change up. It's like, what the fuck? I didn't know this was gonna be a vampire movie, and it's so fucking fucked up and dark when it does turn.
of course it happens with the titty twister, right?
Yeah, things go so downhill, and like the cool thing is they've been like living off of truckers and travelers for like hundreds of years because at the end of the movie you see behind the bar there's like these Aztec looking temples and stuff where they live at. Then you see all like the buses and the big rigs and everything because they've been feeding off all these people for so long. I was like, wow, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a great film. I also put up Near Dark on that level in my opinion, but
Yeah, Near Dark is also on that list. Bill Paxton kills in that movie.
yeah, this just has another, it's cool vibes, sort of leather jackety sort of type of film. I love it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I wish they would do like a cool like special edition Blu-ray of that. I think they kind of did something similar to that a few years ago, but I didn't like the artwork for it, so I didn't buy it. But maybe they can revisit that and bring out another special edition or something.
Yeah, I really I like original poster artwork, so I love when, you know, DVD and Blu-rays like are consistent with that artwork across everything.
Hmm.
Because I've seen some updated artwork even for like, really good films like The Shining, and it's just pretty, subpar. But
I recently got, well, this is probably like last year, but kind of recent. I got the new special edition Blu-ray of Dog Soldiers, and they did some like custom
oh,
artwork
nice.
for it, and I thought that looked really cool. Cool, and it came with a poster and stuff too, so that was awesome.
Hell yeah,
That's a great
that's
one.
a cool
That's like one
movie.
of the best. Yeah, so good. Hopefully, we'll see more werewolf movies eventually. We
Are
haven't
you
seen any good ones in a while.
since it's Horror Wolf, the podcast?
I'll say that one more time. You broke up.
I was just wondering, since your podcast is Horror Wolf, are you just really big into werewolf?
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
werewolves are my thing. Like, yeah, if I had to say what my all-time favorite movie was, it would probably be American Werewolf in London. But now that's tied with Mandy. Mandy's also my favorite
Okay.
movie. So, but yeah, I love
Sweet.
werewolves. Yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah. And I was like,
Yeah,
well,
I just watched Ginger Snaps recently. I really like that one.
oh, Ginger Snaps is good. I like the first one and the second one. Then they did the one where they go like way back in time, and that one's decent, but the first two are the best.
Yeah, I need to revisit those, but really cool story.
Yeah, really unique too, and it definitely nails that time frame when it came out. And like, if I go back and watch it now, I can like see myself being back in high school again and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever follow like the real life like Dogman podcasts out there, but there's a couple, and it's pretty interesting if you're into like cryptid type stuff.
I haven't listened to those type of podcasts really. I sometimes I watch like the paranormal shows on TV, and they do like Bigfoot sightings and werewolf stuff. But I'm super interested in that stuff. I'm very skeptical about it all, but I still think it's fun, and I'm never like saying, oh no, this doesn't exist. I'm never putting a no to it. You know what I mean? Like it could, why not? You know?
Yeah, I'm skeptical of all that stuff, but I like watching. I have a couple of like YouTube channels that I watch for ghosts and Bigfoot, Dogman. I love all that stuff. It's just entertaining.
It is. There's a show I watch, a really cheesy one that comes on like maybe Travel Channel, but I watch on HBO Max. It's called called On Tape Paranormal. I watch it like on Saturdays, like or Sunday mornings and stuff, just for throw something on. But they have like all these different like videos of people capturing different things, like a ghost, a Bigfoot sighting, and most of them look super cheesy, and I can tell they were faked. But you never know. There might be one that passes in there and like, oh, that looks kind of real. How'd that
Yeah,
happen?
yeah. It's just, I mean, you have to keep in mind, like, some people are just out for clout, but some of the videos are like so well done, you just start to wonder. Like I
Yeah.
watched this channel on YouTube called Nuke's Top Five. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but it's pretty
Mm-mm.
popular. There's some interesting stuff on there.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that one. I have to check that out. Yeah. I'm always looking for different, little paranormal things to watch. And, because, like I said, you never know what might be real on there. Like with all the fake shit, there could be something like totally legit that passes by.
Definitely. Yeah, some weird stuff out there. I
Yeah,
just
there's so
like,
many things we can't explain already. Like, there's shit out there.
well, it's just the fact that like, the U.S. government hasn't even investigated like Skinwalker Ranch, and other than alien stuff or like skinwalkers, there's also said to be like paranormal stuff there too happening. So
Hmm.
it's interesting that they actually put money into an investigation there.
Yeah, if they're throwing money at something, then they do have some type of something going on. They're not going to throw money at anything.
Yeah, I guess we'll never know though. They seem pretty hush hush on the topic, so
Yeah, and then the Skinwalker Ranch documentary series with quotation marks there that they have on like Hulu kind of sucks. It's like pretty bad. They never find anything, and it's like a bunch of guys arguing. I'm like, that's pretty stupid.
yeah. My girlfriend and I have sort of a running joke about all the Bigfoot documentaries, and she'll say something like, "I'm gonna watch a Bigfoot documentary from 2014, and I think they might catch him this time." You know?
There was a Bigfoot documentary that came out a couple of years ago, and I was expecting this one to be good. I heard a bunch of hype about it, and it wasn't even about Bigfoot. It was about they were growing marijuana out in the California mountains or something like that, and the guy they called Bigfoot was just some like cartel drug guy. Like it was a total ripoff. Like there's no fucking Bigfoot in this documentary, and they're like throwing it out there like it's Bigfoot, even the art and everything like that. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, it's like if someone really caught some legitimate footage or any evidence, it'd probably be on the news.
Hmm. Yep. That's what I think. We'd know way before one of these documentaries comes out if there's a real Bigfoot or a dog man or something.
Yeah, I know there's like giant portions of the United States that are, like people haven't really been through yet just because of harsh environments or just whatever the case may be. But I don't know. I just feel like we would have more mass sightings probably of
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah, definitely. There's talk about more like rumors and stuff that there was a dinosaur type creature in the Amazon because a lot of the Amazon hasn't been really um what discovered, I guess, or like actually mapped out and stuff. And supposedly natives have seen a dinosaur like creature there. I'm like, oh, that's kind of believable just because of the weather and stuff. Maybe it hit out there from extinction. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely some weird stuff floating around out there.
Hmm. And as our technology gets weirder, I'm sure we're gonna have like a Jurassic Park in the future because they're already talking about cloning mammoths and stuff, and that's pretty. It's easy for them to do from what they say. So if they can do those, why not dinosaurs, right?
Oh yeah, you just need to gather some mosquito DNA from Rock of Amber.
Yeah, that'd be wild. Like, oh, we're going to the dinosaur park this weekend. Okay, have fun. Like that, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, James Cameron warned us with AI, in
Hmm.
later, but I don't think they'll actually heed the warnings in Jurassic Park. So
No, no. I think all this stuff is gonna like be real. I'd say in the next 100 years probably we'll have some shit like that. If the world hasn't been blown up yet by UFOs or ourselves, like we're gonna have some really weird shit after our time. So
yeah, life is just weird in general.
yeah,
A
hundred
lot of weird
percent on
stuff
that.
going on now, like politically and whatever else. So
We live in strange days.
yeah, I just mostly keep to myself and watch movies, work on movies. So it's like I can put a lot of my, personal thoughts in the script.
That's cool. Yeah, that's the best way to do it, is and stay away from people in general. So yeah, that's what I do. I watch movies and do the podcast and hide from the world.
I think the most that I go out recently is just to the thrift store.
Yeah, well, that's a good trip though, because you get to find cool VHSs and stuff and other cool shit from the past.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you find some amazing stuff. Like I'll find like a lot of retro cameras. I collect a lot of old 35 millimeter cameras. So
That's cool. We used to find a whole bunch of like really awesome first edition hardcovers of different books. That was a thing me and my wife do. We used to, well, we don't do it anymore, but we used to go around different thrift shops and flea markets and everything, and just fucking find cool first editions of like Stephen King stuff. We found a whole bunch of Anne Rice stuff. Like at this one
nice.
place at a flea market, this person had no idea what they had. We're going through the books like, oh, we'll take $30 for it, and there's like 30 books, and we're like, okay, $30, okay. And each book is worth like 100 to $200. But so we have a huge collection of Anne Rice stuff, and I still have a huge collection of Stephen King first edition hardcover stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they're not reader copies either, so I never take them out. They're just there, you know. If I want a reader copy, I fucking get like a soft cover or fucking read it on Kindle. I don't want to damage those books any more than what they are.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's a
I,
fun part of thrifting.
mostly when it comes to books, like I'm collecting old Goosebumps. I try to find the original versions.
Oh, that's cool. I wish I still had mine. I had all the original first run or whatever, the Goosebumps books before they turned to like Fear Street. I had all those.
Yeah, yeah, I have a couple of those too. But yeah, there's a lot of like weird reprints with bad art. So I
Hmm.
try to find the originals because not only do they have like the really cool art, but they have like the actual bumps on the logo. So
Oh, yeah, I remember those ones. My favorite of the Goosebumps books, I think this was Goosebumps and not Fear Street. It was The Werewolf of Peeper Swamp.
yeah, yeah, that's a great one.
Oh, so good. Even the mini series of the Goosebumps TV show was really cool when they did that.
Yeah, my favorite growing up was One Day at Horrorland.
Oh, that's a good one. Was that the Choose Your Own Adventure one?
Um, it was like it was a two-parter when it came out in the TV series,
Hmm.
and it was just sort of just like this theme park this like family goes to, and all the rides are like really messed up. But I feel like the book was way better though.
Yeah, I remember like the book was definitely better than what the TV show was. TV show was still cool, but they missed some things there, I guess. But what do you expect for like a 30-minute TV show that's on the Fox Kids Network? you know?
Yeah, I was I saw where they were gonna like do the updated television series, and I thought maybe they would just remake the books and stuff, and so we could see like better versions. But when I looked on IMDb, it seemed like it was just the same guy directing every episode, and it was going to be some new thing. So
Hmm.
I guess I mean that's cool too, but I was hoping it would be like different guest directors doing like different stories from the original books. I prefer
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, that would have been killer if they did that. Who knows? They might still do that one day. You know, it's a lot of material there they can work with.
Yeah, I mean that's what I would do definitely because I mean I think the world has matured in a lot of ways. Like um, a lot of people that were just kids back when the original series was going on are now adults. So
Hmm.
you could just it'd be cool to market to them and make something really like a lot darker, more adult. Not too adult because I mean the books are aimed at like a younger audience, but I feel like the even when I was a kid, I thought the television series was a little cheesy. So
Right. Yeah, it definitely was, but still fun. But yeah, cheesy
yeah,
as hell.
I love it, but yeah, because I used to read a lot of the books and like some of the episodes didn't really compare. So, but I
Yeah.
love like a haunted mask, certain things
Oh,
like
I remember the haunted mask one. I was a big mask kid when I was I was a big mask kid growing up. During Halloween times, I always had to have like the coolest mask, and some of those masks were really tight. So remind me of that episode. Like, am I going to get this mask off of me?
So yeah, yeah. We've been collecting masks recently. We have a bunch of the like Trick or Treat Studio Michael Myers masks,
Oh, sweet.
and some other stuff.
Yeah, that's so tempting to me. Like every time I see all those cool like trick or treat stuff coming out, like for whatever they're doing mask wise, or they're like giant fucking like replicas of like Chucky and shit. I'm like, man, I ain't got room for all this stuff. Like I'm
Yeah,
already full of stuff right now. Like I don't have any room, and that's just a whole nother fucking rabbit hole of
yeah,
shit I can go down.
yeah. It's not something we collect a lot of because it does take up a lot of space, and most of our space is filled up with like figures, like NECA figures, and like we have a bunch of horror stuff. And recently, I've been collecting. They've been doing reprints of the original Ninja Turtles figures,
Hmm.
collecting those.
Oh, that's cool. I love the original Ninja Turtles. Like those are the best. I'm glad they're like redoing those and bringing them back. That's cool.
Yeah, it's so awesome. Original artwork and everything.
Those the NECA figures are like really fucking super detailed. I see them when I go in like if I go to Best Buy or something, they carry those now or like Target. I'm like, man, I want to get me like one of these, but if I get one, I'm gonna have to get like two, and if I get two, I'm gonna have to collect every fucking one of them, because I guess that's how it goes with those. But it's so
Yeah,
well done. I'm like, man, if I had these when I was a fucking kid, they're so
yeah,
fucking detailed.
it's an addiction for sure. I started collecting a couple of Jason Voorhees figures, and now we've got them all. So
Well, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's something I always wanted when I was a kid. But I collect the like the ultimates, so like the really detailed ones that you're probably talking about, as
Hmm.
well as I collect the Toonie Terrors, and then my favorites are the retro cloth figures, but I don't see those as much. They're kind of rare around here.
Hmm. Yeah, there's like whole YouTube videos dedicated to collecting these type of figures and stuff, and they tell you where, oh, they have them here, they're stocked up here. We're gonna go check this place, and they usually buy them all out and fucking sell them or something.
Yeah, I just remember the first time I saw like the cloth figure of Harry Warden from My Bloody Valentine. I was freaking
Hmm.
out because like when I was younger, I couldn't have ever imagined that.
Yeah, that we didn't have toys that cool back then. We did, but like you had to order them through like magazines. I remember there's like this whole collection of these like Guyver action figures. Have you seen Guyver or the anime or the
Yeah,
movie?
yeah, it's so
Yeah,
cool.
I wanted those so bad. They'd be in the back of Fangoria, like order this now, and they're like $300. I'm like, fuck, I can't do. I'm a kid, I can't afford that. My parents are gonna buy me that shit, but they always look so cool. I wanted all of them.
Hell yeah. I remember like seeing some of the early like Puppet Master figures, and I wanted those. And now
Oh,
some
those are
are
cool.
pretty pricey.
Yeah, those in the like the Hellraiser series that McFarlane did. Like those are so goddamn pricey, and I want the whole fucking set. But if you go on eBay trying to look those up, they're like $400 or $500 for the whole set, even more. Depends on the condition.
Yeah, some of my favorite stuff never gets a toy line. Like, I was talking about Psycho Gorman earlier. I would love to have like a NECA line of all those, like, the entire table of villains.
That would be awesome. Hopefully that maybe that'll happen. I'm sure it won't be from like NECA, but maybe like a smaller company to get a hold of those and do some like limited edition releases or something.
Be so cool.
Yeah, definitely. That would be cool as shit. And that's made for toys right there.
Yeah, and I'd love to do a toy line for the girls as well. Like we've sort of talked about that because we have some of the villains are pretty cool. They have cool designs. So
I'm way down for that. So the VHS and the toy line would be fucking killer. So
yeah.
do you have like a tentative like release date for the girls that you're aiming for, or?
Right now we're aiming for like the fall festival season 2024.
Hmm.
So we have a lot to do. We kind of got hit hard by the SAG strike because we were kind of talking to a couple of actors who were SAG,
Hmm.
and we're either going to have to, I guess, wait until the strike is over, or we're going to start working on a waiver. So
Yeah, I don't know when the strike's going to be over. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be in for the long haul, from what I'm hearing. So that sucks, man. But
Yeah, it looks like the studio's not playing nice. So,
nope. I know I definitely look forward to seeing the girls, and whenever it does come out and stuff, I definitely share it on my social media pages and stuff. And I do I don't write full reviews anymore just because I just got tired of doing reviews. But I still do like little like snippets and stuff like that. So I definitely want to check it out and throw out my view on it and stuff out there and help out, supporting it.
awesome. I appreciate it. And, maybe we can talk again when it's, getting closer to being released. So,
Yeah, totally. Just hit me up and stuff, and we can definitely do this again. But yeah, I had a great time talking with you, and I appreciate you being on the podcast. And once again, I'm happy Alice, hooked us up here, so that's really cool.
hell yeah. This was great talking to you, and thanks for having me on.
Excellent. You have yourself a good rest of the weekend, and I will talk to you soon.
You too. And talking to you later.
Take care.
Bye.